is an emergency. Queen's Quest arrived. Emergency. Queen's Quest arrived. Emergency. Queen's Quest arrived.
Down to the queens.
Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and everybody inside and outside of the gender spectrum, and welcome back to Stardom Quest, the best weekly Stardom podcast anywhere in the world. I'm as always Alex, and I am joined by Dylan. Hi, Dylan.
Hi, Alex. Hi, guys. How's it going? Big week, big week, big week indeed. I hope everybody enjoyed the Joshi festivities of the week, because obviously it was one of the biggest shows of all time, and it was a really good show. So we're gonna talk about all that and a little bit more. But first, I want to give a little shout out to DPW, my boys at Deadlock. I've been talking about, not talking, but I've been like thinking like, holy shit, they're trying to run a Japan show for like a long time because, and they actually did it. So shout out to them. Those are good brothers, and I'm happy for them. They ran last night, and it seemed like a success, and they're running again tomorrow. So yeah, shout out to them. Good for them. Love them.
I don't know. That's good stuff. The Deadlock Auto Move stuff. It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's
I mean they're getting some good matches out of it too. I mean, Emi Sakura, Miyuka Takase is happening, and that's just a good ass match, like just straight up.
Mikasa getting to do anything is always pleasant. Let's be
This
fair.
is true. This is true.
But yeah, there's a lot that's happened in Stardom. Like normally we would just review the big show, but in the 48 hours since this show happened, there's been mountains of news. So
Yeah.
let's just get into the news. The first thing, the most important thing, Suzu Suzuki announced her departure from Prominence the other day.
Mhm.
That's a seismic shift. Like you would imagine she's
Not
gonna sign with Stardom before long.
Y- Yeah, I mean, like, it looks like she might already, because like she's
Yeah.
on every Golden Week show except for the big one that was announced before she so- she like said she
hmm
was gone from Prominence. Um, yeah, I mean, dude, and I don't know how to personally feel a lot about this because obviously we do a Stardom podcast, and obviously Suzu Suzuki's great, and obviously I'm happy that she's going to be around more. However, this means Kurumi's gone. Realistically, looking at the match cards going forward, Suzu is just straight up not Prominence anymore, and there's no reason for her to bring her along Prominence anymore. So Kurumi's gone, and she was like top 5 MVPs of this year for the company. So that's a shame. And also, Suzu doing death matches is, she says she's going to keep doing them, but it's very unlikely that she does them more than like once or twice a year at most, if they let her do that. So, as a deathmatch fan and as a Kurumi fan, this kind of sucks. But as a Suzu fan, as a Suzu and Stardom fan specifically, this is great. So there's definitely mixed feelings from me. I know you're a bit more like this is awesome. I don't care. Fuck you. But I'm a little bit like, man, because she had some great matches and she had some great death matches over the past year, but you know, she will be
I
missed from that scene.
I mean, the deathmatch with Risa Sera was cool, but like her losing to deathmatch dudes because they were like, "No, I'm not doing a job for a young one," is whatever to me. Like that's just stupid. So I kind of I got over it pretty quickly.
To be fair,
Um,
that's kind of the
yes.
point of a 10-match series is to
Yeah,
lose all of them.
yeah, but she's like been a world champion in Joshi. She's like main evented bigger arenas than these Freedoms dude will ever wrestle in. Like,
This is
she's a
true.
bigger star than almost the entire Freedoms roster. There's no reason she should be losing to them other than them going, yeah, I'm not losing to the girl. Like that, and that's it. And that's just stupid. So yeah, her getting away from jobbing every month and phoning it in kind of in wave is for the best really because I mean what has she done outside of Stardom over the past 12 months other than the one dash match which was very cool and also catch the wave, but other than that
She
it's
won the wave
like
belt
it's whatever.
for a day.
Yeah,
That was
because
crazy.
the actual
Her
champion blew her knees out. So
I'm hoping she comes back soon. Um, no, her match with Harada was really good. Her match with Drew wasn't that good. Her tag match, she had some really good death. You just don't like the style. I mean, she bled so heavily one time at a prominent show. This was like late last year. That got very concerning. And I like when it's just enough to be concerned, but not enough to like, you know, be uncomfortable. It's great. It's a great time. Um, and yeah, I just think I'm gonna miss that a lot because as we saw this past weekend, Stardom is afraid to give blood where they've already given blood. So I don't, I don't see. I think somebody said that. Oh well, Risa Sarah just decided in Ice Ribbon that she wanted to do death matches, so they had him. So Ice Ribbon did death matches for a bit. Stardom ain't gonna do that because Stardom are kind of pussies. So that's a shame. But it is what it is. I'm excited to see her around more, even if it means no more death.
Yes, yeah. I mean, sky's the limit now for her. Like as soon as she puts that pen to paper with Stardom, um, it's over for everybody. Like I don't know what they're gonna do with her. I mean, she could join DDM or something like that. She could get her own faction. All I know is she's gonna be pushed as a big deal in
You
Stardom.
know, part of me with the way that the Golden Week stuff is shaking out, part of me thinks they might dismantle the structured faction system to some degree. Um,
I mean, if there was ever time for a draft, like then
yes,
that
this
would
is
be a
true.
great time.
In fact,
Every
I think
faction
that
is
would
on
be
its last
so
legs.
interesting.
Eh,
I
like
think I
every
think a draft would
faction
be
needs a
super
shake
interesting
up
right now.
without doubt. Like just do the damn draft. But
And I mean,
yeah,
like, you don't even have to like do like major moves if you don't want because everybody has a top three. You know what I mean? Like, except for DDM, doesn't have that structured top three, but everybody else does. So it's like if you want the same top three in every group and then just shuffle it up otherwise, that would make a lot of sense. Um, Somebody would obviously grab Suzu and like people like that. But yeah, I mean, I would love a draft, but I feel like they need to do something about the factions because it's feeling a bit disjointed nowadays. And they either need to structure them up or, you know, dismantle them. Not entirely, like they could still have factions, like factions are cool, but they probably could make like a unaffiliated army type thing, just for the Suzus and the Maceras type thing.
yeah, yes, definitely. But I don't really know what they're gonna do there. Suzu could get her own group if she has already signed, but I don't really know the direction there.
I feel like Suzu to DD, but then again, now coming in and being
Well,
like,
I
I don't
feel
know
like
what's
she'll
happening.
land in Cosmic Angels if she joins at all. She might just be a
Yes,
new blood thing. But I don't really know. But yeah, I mean, Suzu's signing is huge. Like that's one of the biggest. That's one of the things they've been waiting on. Like ever since she showed up, it was like, okay, when is she? When is she joining? Because like it was kind of obvious that the appeal of prominence would wear off eventually. And it took about a year for it to wear off. But the other bit of
man.
news then is that Stardom has announced all of the cards for the Golden Week shows. There's not like a lot here to kind of show what's coming next. There is a few interesting bits, like you said. Suzu is on every show. Um, May Sarah is on every show. So you'd imagine they're kind of locked in to some degree. Saori Anou, she's working like at the big ones and then not the rest. So her status is still kind of part-time ish with Stardom. Um, and I mean, there's nothing else really to dig into from these shows. Momokogo isn't on them. She like fainted or something. During the match during the pre-show the other.
Yeah, she people thought that she got injured from the hangover, but I think people were saying that there was like like more going on with her uh, physical condition. So yeah, I'm not sure. Somebody said that she has some type of like illness that would cause for a fainting incident type of thing. But yeah, she had to leave and has not been seen since that show, unfortunately. And like Stars did like a live stream yesterday. There was a press conference yesterday. Like yeah, she's completely off the shows for a while. So
Yeah,
hope
so
she gets better.
yeah, I think Rossi said today that she was okay. I think he mentioned it in a tweet that he'd heard from
Yeah,
her and she was fine.
yeah.
Um, One thing I guess to note is that Suzu, May, and Yuna have been paired up for one of these matches on one of these shows, and I mean Yuna Mizumori has been like around for ages now and is just kind of attaching to whoever. Um, So yeah, she's one of those like wrestlers who's just in the boat of I have nothing concrete to do, so I am here. And yeah, they have a few of those people right now, which we're not really used to because for the last while it was just everybody was in a faction and that was it. And
Yeah.
you have like 5 people floating around who are just aimless, and it's very jarring.
Yeah, totally. Which and it's kind of interesting how structured Stardom has been because I feel like most companies aren't. I mean, like Stardom turned their Sekigun into a insular faction. That
Hmm.
doesn't happen. That's not like that's the entire antithesis of what a Sekigun is supposed to be. And Stars is Stars, but Stars is great. So like I said, it would be interesting if they kind of got that main army quote unquote type of thing for these wrestlers. But also they're all outsiders, right? So there can
Yeah,
also be a kind of play off of that if they want. But
yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Although
if
we've
they
had
don't
like
do that,
4 outsider groups at this point, I don't
yes,
I don't think
yes.
we need more.
But it seems like outsiders are taking a smaller role now that Prominence is gone.
Yes.
Colors is not really around anymore. Um, U is probably gone, unfortunately. Uh, it feels like anybody who's in the company is like at least 75% in the door, right?
Yeah.
Compared to like you was just around because she wanted to be around sometimes.
Yeah, and I mean, and then like Saori Anou, who is eventually going to
Like
join, you'd imagine.
she's what wrestling them, Oz and Sendai mostly. Like those are the
Yeah.
three places that she primarily and Sendai and Oz don't run enough for it to be like, oh, she has conflicts every week.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
yeah,
like she wouldn't lose out if she stopped working them and did more Stardom. And I know she's on some posters for Sendai, is it, for some of their
yeah.
big shows?
Sendai is
But
is July.
the smaller Joshi companies, like their posters are very unreliable. Like Yoshiko was on posters up until December, and she hasn't wrestled in a
That's
year
true.
and a bit. So I think it's a lot of the time they just get them made and then that's it. They're kind of stuck with it. So I mean, I wouldn't take the poster as kind of law, but yeah, maybe she won't be full time for a little bit. But you'll have to wait and see on that. The other bit of news is that they've announced the card for New Blood 8. This is on May 12th, and this is the first show since the pay-per-view, which kind of ended a lot of the last arcs from the New Blood brand. The opener is Waka
The best
Tsukiyama.
New Blood show, by the way.
Yeah, it's a real like reset for these because we had said for like they need to find an identity for these. It seems like they maybe have one again, but maybe not. The opener anyway is Waka Tsukiyama versus Aya Sakura. Oh no, that is not
That's
good.
the only bad match. Like genuinely, like I don't want to watch this match on the show
Yeah,
though.
yeah, like that is rough because
It's a
Aya
rough match.
Aya is not her yet. But you know what? Maybe Waka is a lot better than we think, and she can carry it. Um, we get straight into the interesting stuff though. We have Hanan and Hina versus Tomoka and Azusa Inaba. So if you haven't been blessed enough to watch Azusa Inaba, she is literally a Tomoka regen. Like same entrance, same like karate display thing before the matches. Same type of offense, same moves, literally a regen of Tomoka. But
They
obviously
look
she's
very
only
similar
got
too.
they do. But she's only had like 4 or 5 matches, so she
She's
isn't.
also 14 or 15, I
Yeah,
think.
she's very young. So she's like Tomoka, but obviously not the finished product. Whereas Tomoka Inaba is a great wrestler. And Hanan and Hina are also judokas who are sisters. And
Yeah,
Hanan is
this
pretty
press
excellent.
conference was hilarious.
They did they
This
did
press
a
con I don't know if you
demonstration
saw
on
any of this.
Hanan's ribs. They they
Dude,
were like, let's show off our karate and
dude,
hit her.
Hanan's like, yo, you wanna go, Tomoka? And Tomoka's like, yeah, I'll go. And then they like start like kind of like grappling around. Tomoka tries to kick her, and it's like stalemate. And then her sister just comes in and punches her in the fucking gut. Or no, she fucking knees her in the gut. And then they just like punch her. I was like, she got jumped. Homegirl got jumped
Mhm.
by the karate sisters. That's crazy. Yeah, I this was like a match that when we heard Azusa was debuting, we were like, this is a match that we need to see like
Yeah.
immediately. Was the Minamis versus the Inabas, and they're doing it already. And 5 years from now, if all of them are still wrestling, they're gonna do it again, and it's gonna be killer again. Like, man, This is a match I'm excited for. Even if it's not great, it's a match that's like this is something that you got to pay attention to because
Yeah. Well,
if
Hanan and
Azusa
Tomoka
gets to
are
the
always
level,
like excellent. So.
well, yes, obviously. I mean, they had one of Hanan's best matches
Mhm.
in Cork, and it was a draw, and that's kind of hard to do. Um, so yeah, if Azusa gets to anywhere near the level of Tomoka, then like this is like a big match that you should be paying attention to.
Definitely. The next match then on the show is Mai Sakurai and Chan Yota versus Suzu Suzuki and Mei Seira. So no big indication that these two women are signed. Then they are working New Blood with the porn lady. Chan Yota, based
Shouts
Chan
out
Yota
Chanyeol,
is
though.
back. We love Chan Yota.
Yeah.
Strong woman.
She
Very,
was in
very
the
strong
she's in
woman.
the Rumble,
She
and I'm
was.
really excited to talk about her and Waka's stuff because it was really
Okay.
funny.
That's great. So I imagine this is like scrimmaging for position in the tag, the New Blood tag scene, because obviously Mai Sakurai and Chan Yota are pretty much one of the established tag teams of this brand.
Yeah.
And maybe Suzu and Sarah will challenge Kid and Karma down the line, because that seems like a pretty obvious match to do. So
Mhm.
yeah, I mean that's a nice match. It's good to see that the tag division is kind of taking shape there on that brand, and it's cool to see Chanyota because I mean Chanyota is like she's got everything. You know, she's another one of those where if she ever wanted to sign, there's clear upside with her.
Yeah. I will say I'm looking at this card. I think a match that they might have wanted to do but didn't do because of Momokogo's injury is Momokogo and Ida against like Mirai and Nanami or something like that.
Mm,
Because I felt like Momokogo was really about to maybe not get a push in New Blood, but the framing of her and Kid seemed like she is beefing, like she is like going to be doing something in New Blood, right?
that's true.
Same
Yeah.
with Mariah. Mariah's also not on this, um, and she could have been. So yeah, I mean, I think that there is probably stuff left off this card because there are a couple of notable admissions, but this is a pretty loaded card altogether. And Suzu Suzuki and Mei feel like they're too big for the New Blood belts, but then again, Starlight Kid is a New Blood champion, so you know.
Yeah, I mean they wouldn't win them, but a challenge would definitely make sense.
And Ami Sourei is the tag team champ. This is
Yeah.
what the fuck are they doing, man?
I wish I knew. The next match then is a passion injection match. It's Nanai Takahashi versus Rocca, and that's a pretty cool one. They've been
This is
feuding.
one you've been waiting for.
Yeah, they've been feuding over the fridge bomb, refrigerator bomb, as one of them calls it. Um, and yeah, these passion injection matches, they're a nice addition to New Blood. I think you know Nanai does well at letting the wrestlers showcase themselves, and I think
This one could
Rocca
be
will
the
make
best
the
one
most of it.
because
Yeah,
there's like heat behind it.
yeah, possibly. Um, then we have a Miyu Amasaki 5-match Supernova Series, match number 4. It's Miyu
She's only
Amasaki.
had 4 of these motherfuckers.
I know, right? It's been going on since she debuted as well. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, she's against Momo Watanabe. They've been beefing a little bit on the house shows. I know Miyu Amasaki swore and was like, "Hey,
Mhm.
I'm not a fucking rookie, and I'm gonna beat you." And Momo was like, "Ah, that's cute. I'm gonna kick the shit out of you."
There was one post-match promo of, Miyu Amasaki pulling a Hikari Noah and getting really up in the camera's face and, like, really invading personal space and being like, "Hey, Momo, I'll beat your ass." And I was like, "That's it. That's what I need out of you, Kevin. I respect it. I
Yeah,
respect it."
Gangster Miyu is the way to go. Um,
Yeah.
then we have the semi-main event. It's a Future of Stardom Championship match. Ami Sourei defends against Rina. I mean, Rina felt like somebody who could beat Ami at one point, but I don't know if they're gonna do that now that she's tag champ. Then the main event
Rina
is
should beat Ami.
she should. She's better. Um, and then the main event is the New Blood Tag Championship match. Starlight Kid and
That's
Karma.
not the main event.
Is it not? Another match? Oh shit! Yeah. Okay. Um,
It's yeah.
so Starlight Kid and Karma defend against Lady C and Hanako. So that's a fun one. Hanako is pretty great, and
The presser on this one was also very funny
yeah,
because Lady C and Hanako were just like, "Oh, you're fucking short, bro. And your partner's not here to save you." So they just pick Kid up and just like drag her away, like just like literally lift her above their heads and just drag her away. She's like, "What the fuck is that? Save me!" It's great.
that is
Great.
incredible.
Loved it.
That
I
sounds
like
like
this
your kind of thing.
anything that I like if like because obviously before we didn't haven't gotten to it yet, but the show was really great. But most of my wrestlers lost, right? Like most
Mm-hmm.
of the people who won, I didn't really like. So any like, oh man, my favorite wrestlers lost. That sucks. Any of that completely got done away with on this New Blood presser because all of my least favorite wrestlers just got made to look like fools, and it's great. Except
Yes.
for Hanan. Poor Hanan. She got she looked bad, but she'll survive.
Yes. The actual main event then is Tam Nakano versus. Well, they're branding this as this. It's Tam Nakano versus Tam Nakano, but the other Tam Nakano is Nao Ishikawa, formerly of
Yes,
Ice Ribbon. I'm glad they're getting it out of the way because it's pretty
it's a
unavoidable. Like these are
it's a
literally the
good
same
bit.
woman. Like they have
It's a
the
good
same.
bit.
Like they there are points. Like I've been following Joshi for a long time. I know how to tell people apart, but there have been points where
Mhm.
I've seen Nao Ishikawa and been like, "What is Tam doing?"
No, yeah, I saw a GIF of her throwing a German suplex. I was like, how is that like just from the back, right? Like
Hmm.
I didn't see her face or anything. I was like, how is that not Tam?
Yeah, because
Like I was very confused. I was like, that looks like her like 2017 gear. Like that
yes, they
is
do
like
the
her
same color scheme.
style of German. Like that's like I'm just like this is weird. The hair, like it was very confusing. And I saw that after this press conference. I saw that GIF and I was still like, which one is that?
Mhm.
But yeah,
Like when they're
they do
next to
look
each
very much
other,
alike.
you can obviously tell the difference. But if you are only looking at one, it is very easy to go, "Oh, that's the other one." But yeah,
Yeah.
it's very fun that they're playing into it.
I will say this feud has forced Tam's hand and made her buy Twitter Blue.
No.
Um, I'm not joking. She bought Twitter Blue, and now she's like, "Hey, this motherfucker's impersonating me. Get rid of her." And then now Ishikawa said, "This motherfucker's impersonating me. Get rid of her." And they're like, it's great. It's great. I love this. Yeah, now Ishikawa just did the most exaggerated Tam face imaginable,
Mhm.
and I got a hit tweet out of it. 42 whole likes for me saying
Wow.
this random chick shows up to your house after the biggest win of your career and says, "This is how dumb you look. Remember that." Because it's one thing because the videos you guys need to see this part of the presser. I've been saying this presser is great because it has been great, but you guys see this part of the presser specifically because all of the clips are so good. And Tam's at one point, Tam was like, "Okay, if you're Tam Nakano, what like show me what being Tam Nakano is like." And Ishikawa like does the Tam introduction and then does like the cute stuff, and Tam's like, "Oh, she's being cute," and then she starts having a seizure, and and I'm just like, "What the fuck?" Like oh my god, I can't even describe it. I legit was crying laughing watching this last night, because she just got Tam, man. She's got Tam good,
She
and
did.
the story is that it's like, wait, you're Julia's friend, aren't you? She said you to do this, didn't she? And I was, oh my god, I love this. Better Tam will prevail, I hope.
Of course. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure the verbiage Tom used was "You're an assassin sent by Julia." And I mean, I would buy it. So yeah, that's the most fun New Blood has ever been, and that's a great show. But I think that's all the news from the last week of Stardom. I don't think I've missed anything. Um, I mean, I guess
No, it's mostly just the people who
Sari
seem like they
Sari randomly being like,
yes.
"Oh, I don't want the IWGP Women's Belt anymore." She
Oh, did she say that?
Yeah, she said it today because she announced the Sariism card.
Mm.
And so after her in her like return presser being like, "Oh yeah, I want that IWGP Women's Belt," she has now said, "No, I don't want it." So all she wanted was a Mercedes match, I guess. She just doesn't want that Mayu. She's not losing to Mayu. She got a case of the jobitis the first time, and now she's just like, "Nah, dog, I don't want to do that." That's crazy.
That's
That
really
is
funny, I'm gonna be
incredible.
real.
It is very funny, honestly. Like her just immediately backing out once Mayu won. It was like, no, I'm not. I don't want to lose to you. I'm not doing that. So incredible. Um, but yeah, that is that. And I guess we should get on to the review. So
Yeah,
the only show to review, April 23rd, 2023, All Star Grand Queendom 2023, powered by SoftBank NFT Lab. You're a little bit late to the NFTs, lads, but I give it a thumbs up for the attempt. Um, this show,
man.
this show did 5,539 fans in the Yokohama Arena. This makes
I'll
it
talk about the NFTs in a minute.
Yes, that's fair. So 5,539 makes it the highest attended Stardom show ever. They can finally stop pretending that the Yuzuki Aikawa show was their best show ever. I'm obviously not counting historic crossover because that was like a co-promoted thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is their biggest, highest attended show ever. Beats out the Yuzuki Aikawa retirement show from 2013, which in massive air quotes, allegedly, it 5,500 people. But if you look at any photos of it, there are not 5,500 people there. I don't even know if
Yes,
5,500 people knew the
similar.
show was happening. Like,
A similar thing happened with the old with the last Yokohama Arena show for all women, that AJW show that I was talking about.
hmm
You know how last week we were like, how the fuck did they get 9,000 people in that bitch in 2003? That doesn't make any sense. It's because they didn't. Like they just straight up didn't. I think I was talking to Passion. He's like, I'm pretty sure I've seen that match, and there was like there was like 1,000 people there tops, man.
It's incredible. AJW lying about attendance is the funniest thing. So we're like, yeah, we had like 48,000 at the Tokyo Dome, and it's like, no, you didn't. No, you fucking didn't. Don't lie. So yeah, the we love Joshi companies lying. But yeah, 5,500 is a massive, massive success. I don't think. I feel like if you have any other take on this, you are simply stupid. Like I don't know what you want from this company because it seems like they only set up for about six, right? Because the stage takes off a big chunk of the seats.
It was a big ass stage.
It was. And then all the rest of the seats were basically full. Like they almost filled and sold out this show. Um, so I mean it's great no matter how you try and slice it.
Yeah, it's a good number. It's it, it's an interesting number, right? Because it felt bigger. Like it felt like there was more people there.
hmm
Like it felt like there was around like 6,000. But it was 555, and that's, you can't really tell that much of a difference between 55 and 6,000 type of thing. But it was a great show. And the attendance was really good. One of the better pay-per-view like crowds, I would say. Because they are pretty hit and miss with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, sometimes they kind of just sit on their hands, and that's okay. If you don't like the show, you don't like the show. But this crowd was really good. It was like an outer word type of style of crowd, which I will always say is the best crowd in Joshi wrestling history. Um, and yeah, it was a really good show and deserving of the attendance.
Yeah, and I mean it's one of the highest attended shows of the year so far. It's I think it's the sixth highest attended all year, which is incredible. I mean it beats out like a lot of big shows. Um, so I mean I feel like Stardom has pretty much essentially staked their claim as one of the top promotions with this one because like listen man, Dragon Gate you can't pretend you're number two anymore. It's over. Like it's over, fam. Stardom is number two.
That was such a really funny uh like not even funny, but it's just like yeah, we might be an indie, but trust me, we we better, and it's like
Yeah.
okay, like nobody really cared, you know what I mean? Like everybody's like yeah, okay, you know what, you guys get a lot of attention, especially in Kobe, and other places that aren't just Tokyo, so I respect that. But after a while it was like I don't know if you can keep saying that, buddy.
Yeah. Kind of gets old after a while, but yeah, big statement of intent from Stardom there with the 5,500. Probably won't get anything close to that number for a little while, but that's okay. It's fine. Uh,
They wanna run this every year. That's a piece of news we didn't talk about, is
yeah,
that they wanna run an all-star show every year,
yeah.
in a Yokohama Arena type of venue.
The way the Bushiroad guy made it seem was they want this to be their Wrestle Kingdom, which I guess makes sense because they have consistently run big shows around this time of the year. Like the first All Star Cinderella show when they did Mayu and Yoshiko. That was in March or April. And obviously last year you had Stardom World Climax. So they are already kind of establishing the big spring show as a major one. So I mean, if you want to build around that as your big one, go for it. Be my guest. Because I actually feel like having your big show in December and then another one in April makes stuff really interesting. Because like you had here, you can crown a champion in December off the GP, and then they can lose it in April on another big show, and like you throw in a whole another level of unpredictability there. So I would be all for that.
Yeah, I think this show, for all of its, faults in the winners, that's just a me thing, whatever. Um, I don't know what's gonna happen, right?
hmm
And that's rare for this company, because usually, even if we're wrong, there's a certain idea of where they're going at all times. Even if it's like a slightly wrong idea, or oh, this changes this, and so it's not what we thought. There's always this like vague idea of like, okay, this is the direction we're going in. And right now, I don't know because this is a big show now, and now you could pretty much lose belts at any time, right? The
Hmm.
top two belts. That wasn't the case for like a while. I think it's since 2019. There hasn't been like a championship decision that wasn't at the end of the year post GP, right?
Yeah.
That's a long time. Or no, it was since Tam won the white belt, but the red belt has been the consistency from 2019. So this show does put a lot more into like question because yeah, you could just drop it in April. That means you have to make the most of your defenses in the first couple months of the year, and that's really interesting. And now we have a couple months until the GP starts, and maybe somebody drops it fucking before the GP, and then the GP is a big thing, and then you have a fucking GP winner, and it's a lot more fluid, and I kind of like it. I agree with you.
Yeah, it's really good because like for a while, like everybody noticed that it was every champion holds it for a year and loses it at Dream Queendom. Like people had very
Mhm.
much copped onto that. And here they just said, nope, we're throwing that out the window. So yeah, that's always
Which
fun.
is
Unpredictability is good sometimes.
we'll talk about the stats later on, but the one I texted you, which is insane about Julia's reign.
Yeah,
We'll talk about that and all that later, but. Yeah, I mean they definitely diverted expectations, subverted
subverted.
expectations.
Yeah. But yeah, let's get into the show. The opening
Mhm.
match of the pre-show was Mai Sakurai winning the Yokohama Rumble and getting to do her "I am better than thou" shtick, which people are still into. Um,
DDM is muddy, bro.
yeah, they're a weird
That was
collection.
that was the theme of this. That was the theme of this show actually. Um, like everybody in DDM cried at least once, uh, for one reason or another, right?
Yeah.
But this Rumble wasn't very good. But it wasn't bad. Momoe Nakanishi's a legend. She's great. Ida ran down the big ass fucking ramp because I don't know if you guys didn't see the show. Ramp was huge
Hmm.
and it had like a bunch of dips, so it wasn't just like a steady ramp, like decline. It was like a bunch of dips, and Ida was running down that motherfucker. And I was like, "You need to calm down. You have bad knees, girl. Please, I don't want you to blow something out right now."
Yeah.
But she did it, and then she posted a clip of it on like Instagram. She's like, "I used to be a track star." Like that's where that came from, and I was like, "Okay, shouts out Ida one time." Um, yeah, the machine spots were pretty bad, and, like, I usually, like, appreciate them to some degree, I usually think they're kinda funny, but they didn't really yeah, they didn't really let them, like, do anything interesting. Like, they just came in and then Mai Sakurai eliminated them, and, like, it just wasn't it didn't hit like it usually does, and, like, I usually find, like, humor in it, but it wasn't very great. Hanako killed it in this match. That's the big one, I would say,
I mean,
is that
she
Hanako
rocked.
was,
Yeah.
like yeah, she was, like, really good in this match. Her and Momoe, were great, and she just really had a really good showing here. And then, funniest part of the match was Waka tried to eliminate Momoe Nakanishi, and then Chan Yoda showed up, body checked her, and was like, "Nah, that's my bag," and she started beating up Momoe Nakanishi. They were both, like, trying so hard to, like, get rid of the other one so they could pin Momoe Nakanishi because she's a legend,
Hmm.
and I thought that was really funny. And then Waka pinned Momoe Nakanishi, which was my 13th reason. And then even worse, my Sakurai winning the match afterwards was my mysterious 14th reason that nobody knew existed. Um, why, man? Like Hanan had new gear, bro. Hanan looked
Dude,
fucking clean.
Hanan
Just give it to her.
Hanan debuted a new look that screams, "I am challenging for the white belt within 12 months," and
Yes,
then she did nothing. And I was like, "Oh,
bro. It upset that upset me so much because I was like, how is she gonna get eliminated by fucking Koguma, her teammate? How are you going to do that? Why?
you can't trust them bears," you know?
Yeah,
Tom Lawler
but
was
but no,
right.
she looked.
I think he was onto
I mean, yeah,
something.
he's got a point. He's got a point. Shout out Tom Lawler one time. Great guy. I don't know if you saw the clip of him just doing a bit on the show with Brian Alvarez, and Brian Alvarez just was just like, it
Honestly,
was the funniest shit ever.
every time I
Tom Lawler
see
looks so proud of himself.
every time I see Brian Alvarez, he looks like he's one piece of bad news away from banging his head off a wall. Like, is
No, I
he
mean,
okay?
I feel like I feel like Brian Alvarez in 2023. That's valid. I feel it.
Really? Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think it was, and this is like completely off topic. I apologize, but Tom Lawler like made a joke about Louis Dangor or whatever,
Oh my god.
and he no he was like, hey, if you want real reporting, Brian, check out Louis Danvers' Twitter. And there was just silence. And Tom Law was just cracking up. He's just like, oh, that was a good one. I got
That
him.
was great.
I got him.
That was
And I
excellent.
watched that clip and I love this man so much. He is my dog. He is my guy. I love that guy. Shout out Tom Lawler.
It was great. No, dragging Louis is like the funniest shit you can do.
It's
Like
so good.
he is the easiest target imaginable. He just says shit, and you're like, how do you exist? Like how did you type this tweet and go,
Oh
yeah,
man.
man, this is the one. I'm hitting send. Like how do you do
It
that?
was so good, man. It was so good. But yeah,
Yeah,
I just needed to get that one
that's all
out
right.
because I just remembered it. So good.
Okay. So yeah, my Sakurai won. Horrible news for Dylan.
Uh,
Um,
very Hanan and Hanako were the two stars of the show, and
all
Momoe,
right, that is
obviously.
valid.
Not of the show, of the
Of
Rumble.
course. I mean, yeah. Then we had the second pre-show match. Momo Watanabe, Ruaka, Saki Kashima, Natsuko Tora of Oedo Tai beat Tekla, Jessie, Xena, and Mariah May of the Mishmash Club Venus DDM team. This will be remembered for the funny entrance where they played Tekla's music and the girlies danced their Club Venus dance
It was
anyway,
so cursed. It
and
was
it
so
was.
cursed. They did the dance so badly too. It
Oh,
was
dude,
so
Xena
cursed.
has
Like it
not
was
like Xena, like
no.
girl, learn the steps. I don't know what you're doing.
Jesse hasn't even tried. Jesse just like fucking like jiggles. Like that's it. Like she's like kind of like waves around her like Hogan thing, her Hogan scarf
Scarf,
thing.
yeah.
She's like waves that around. And I'm just like, and Tekla's just standing there like a badass, like, please stop dancing. I'm trying to look cool. And it's great. That was probably the best part of the
Yeah.
match for sure.
Also, purple-haired Natsuko is giving me incredible life. Like I need it. Or is it blue? Is it blue or
Natsuko's
purple?
cool.
Yeah, I
It's
love it
purple.
though.
It's
It's
purple.
it's great. It's a look.
It's purplish blue.
Yeah.
You know, there's a word for it. But
Yeah, I don't. Whatever.
yeah, I thought the match was like okay.
Mm.
Um, it's wild to think that these people are on the pre-show sometimes. Like even some of the people in the Rumble, right?
Yeah.
Like it's kind of wild to think that it's like, damn, there was no room for some of these people at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's how it goes, I guess, when you're working with outsiders so much, but, we'll have to wait and see if that continues. But then we got into the main card, and we kicked off,
Oh, Saki won via
of
Kishikaze,
course, I
by the
mean,
way.
how else? But the main
Spapapan.
card kicked off in the best way possible. We had a super high-speed tag match. May Sarah and Starlight Kid beat May Saruga and Azumi when May Sarah pinned Azumi in just under 10 minutes. Um, Yeah, I mean this was great. Like this is high speed goodness. Probably not at the highest level possible because they had to keep breaking to do tag stuff. But like some of the tag moves, I was just
Well,
like, what the
yeah,
hell did I just
it
see?
was tornado tag.
It was,
Like
but
they just decided to stop.
yeah.
Like they're just like, yeah, fuck that. This is the only match on the show that like I want to go back and watch immediately. I was going to watch it this morning, but I woke up late. Um, because like this is like one of my favorite matches of the night, just because of how uh well it worked for its time, right? Like I just thought that this was exactly what you needed out of this, and I thought it was a really good showing from
Mm.
everybody, right? Uh, except for Azumi, who tripped on her fucking butterfly wings first entrance of
That
the
was
show.
great.
Poor girl. I love her. Poor girl. Yeah,
Oh, Kid
I
looked
have in
amazing as
quotes.
well in her entrance. Like that. Starlight Kid is such a star, man.
Why do you? I mean, like she looked cool, but you didn't have
Well, I
to
just
say
I
it.
just remembered it
Um,
there when you were talking about entrances.
yeah,
I was like, oh, she
no,
looks
I would
badass.
say I would say that, like, because obviously, like, May Sarah hasn't lost a step. That's the big
Yeah,
notable thing from this
100%.
match is that she's wherever whatever hole in the ground she was in for the past year and a half, she's been fucking training, bro, and she has gotten better. I don't know how that works, but she's gotten better, um, and that's incredible. But other than that, I thought Kid and May Saruga was way better than it had any right to be. Like the stuff they were doing, like I was like, oh, like Kid can do high speed stuff. It's just that her opposite Natsupoi and her opposite Azumi is just very like formulaic,
Hmm.
and you've kind of gotten sick of it. You know what I mean? Her and Mei Saruga completely reminded me like, oh, Kid can fucking do this. Like this is like Kid has a high speed bone in her body because I haven't been feeling that for the past while. So yeah, that was a great showing. And overall, this was just this was just really good. Give me more tag matches like this because
Yeah, I mean,
they don't really do these high speed tag matches much. They're doing one next week, but or this week I should say. But I'm excited. I think that this match was a great sign of things to come
mhm.
for uh at least May Sarah, because I imagine the other three are not going to be around the high speed title much longer.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as May Sarah came back, we knew she was likely to pin Azumi here to set up a title match,
Yeah.
and they do have a title match arranged. And I mean, Azumi, she's beaten everybody. She's done the record-breaking reign as high speed champion. She's done everything in the division. So, like, there's very few people better for her to, do the passing of the torch to than May Sarah, who will make this division her own for the next while. So, this was
Yeah.
not only did she re-debut and have an impressive performance, but they immediately said, okay, she's next in line. And yeah, I thought that was a really good use of this opener.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I thought everybody looked great. You know, I mean, it will be good when May is the new high speed ace. It'll be a shame because uh there's not a lot of people to challenge her for it. Uh, but I'm excited for it. Also, they are doing, but like I said earlier, they're doing Azume Classic. They're doing Azumi and Sarah tagging up
Oh yeah,
this weekend, I believe. So yeah, Azume is Azumi and Saruga, and then Azumi Classic is Azumi and Hoshizuki, which is not her name. It's May
yeah.
Sarah.
Although
Yeah.
they keep calling her Hoshirai in the website, and I'm like, did
No,
the
that's the
yeah,
kanji.
I know you
That's the
said that,
kanji.
but I'm like,
Like, because it's so
has
similar,
the website guy
but
not
it
thought
makes
to
no
change it
sense.
a little bit or something? But it's all right. The match after that then was Fuwa-Chan's second match. Miyu Amasaki and Utami Hayashishita beat Fuwa and Hazuki in 14 minutes when Utami pinned Fuwa with a German suplex. Fuwa, if it wasn't for like Logan Paul, which is the fucking craziest thing to ever come out of my mouth, if it wasn't for Logan Paul, Fuwa-Chan would be like the most natural celebrity to wrestling transition ever because she's like amazing.
I think this one might outdo Paul.
I don't know.
I mean, like it's a harder sell. But the thing with Logan Paul, and like John Morrison has said this, that it's like the issue with Logan Paul is that once you like look at his match a little bit harder, you can see that he trained that shit with Shawn Michaels for like a month. You know what I mean? So it's a good match because Shawn Michaels was teaching him every intricacy of it. So of course it was like not terrible. But like in terms of just naturalness of it, this match made me forget it was a celebrity match. That's
Mm,
the beauty of it, right? Is that it just felt like four wrestlers wrestling. And Fuwa-Chan has had one match before this, and she is a very famous celebrity. You know what I mean? Like that's insane.
yeah,
Like that's not how this is supposed to go. Um and that's the thing with Logan Paul is that it's like every time you see Logan Paul, it's like, "Oh my god, he could do it. Who would have thought?" It's like he's done it 7 times and hasn't really improved or regressed, so obviously, But with Fuwa, it's just like, oh, she's just here and is like wrestling and is good at wrestling.
yeah,
This was a really good match, I would say. Kevin, the reason why we call her Kevin is because much like Kevin Kelly, she just wasn't here. This was all Utami. And I love that. I found it so funny that Hazuki was like, yeah, I'll leave Fuwa in the ring with Utami. Maybe she'll win.
yeah,
Like when you think about like the psychology of that, it's like Hazuki could tag it at any time and save this poor girl from the best wrestler in the company or top 3 wrestlers in the company. But no,
I mean, in
Hazuki is
fairness,
going to
in
watch.
fairness, Fuwa was giving Utami a run for her money there for a little bit.
Oh, 100%. But like in like a down point, I was just looking at it. I was like, why the fuck has Fuwa been in this ring with Utami for so long instead of somebody who's similar to her level? Like that is crazy. And I found that really funny. But she did kill it with Utami. Utami killed it. Utami killed her. Um lariated the shit out of her, laid her out of her
Yeah,
boots at one point. That was a big boy. That was the clip, right? I tweeted that. That's like there was the Saya big boot from last time. That was like the clip of the match. This was the clip, and I was right because I think you said there was like 4 million views on it this morning.
yeah.
Um,
Like the thing with Fuwa is that everything she does gets a lot of attention in Japan. Like this got shown
yeah,
again on big TV. Every clip on Twitter gets millions of views. Like she is ultra famous. The fact that she has
I'm sure I mentioned it last time.
The
Go on.
fact that she has even the slightest bit of interest and respect for wrestling, which I think is the core thing, like she really respects pro wrestling,
Yes.
is so beneficial to Stardom. Like they gain so much from this.
I'm sure I mentioned it last time. I don't know, I was on like it was some world magazine, world news thing. And it was like, oh, pictures that define the week, right? It was like 50 pictures that define the week. And there were some like tragedies, there were some protests around the world. There were some like beautiful pictures of like people like somebody skydiving from the highest whatever. And then near the end, YouTube celebrity Fuwa-Chan getting beat up by Saya Kamitani in a Stardom match. And I'm just like, that is a crazy, like that is not normal. That's like amongst these like major happenings of the week in the world, like globally, like that was just there. Like, oh yeah, famous chicken in Japan, like that,
Yep.
she was wrestling. Like that's just insane. Um, and yeah, I think the respect thing is also very clear. I don't know if she was selling it or if it's because she just it actually happened, but in all of her tweets since then, maybe she stopped by now. In all of her tweets since then, she has mentioned the fact that her neck really
I
hurts.
mean, I've
And I'm just like,
yeah,
yeah, that'll
I've
happen.
seen Utami throw them Germans. I would suspect her neck is in a lot of pain. Yeah,
But yeah, I
Utami's
just
pretty
found that
ruthless with
funny
those.
because like in like 12 tweets after that, she was like, I'm going to do this event with my neck hurting because my neck fucking
Love it.
hurts. And I was like, that's so great. I love
Amazing.
you.
In her promo after the match, it seems like she indicates she wants to do it again. So, I mean,
It sounded like she wants to do it again, but she might be a longer period of
yes,
time
I mean, if I would imagine it would
before it
be like
happens.
December if she was waiting to do it again, or maybe this
Yeah.
equivalent show next year. All I know is like Rossi is like Irish dancing on tables every time he sees her wrestle. Like he's into it. But yeah, that was a great match, and I mean, it was a perfect use of
Put
Utami.
over Utami
Yes,
too.
I mean Utami getting all of this mainstream attention. If there's anybody on this roster you want to get that, it is the coolest looking wrestler in the world. Like
Yes.
Utami, like all no matter what gender you are, if you look at Utami, you're gonna go, I want to be that. Like that's it. It's that
Yeah.
simple. And that is why you put her in a match like this to gain millions of eyeballs where people are like, who the hell is that? How can I watch more of it?
Oh, and Utami's a fucking worker, brother. Right afterwards, she posted a picture of her in suits, of her looking all, you know, uh, royal and regal and all that shit. She's like, "Yeah, nice to meet you. I am the coolest professional wrestler." And I was like, "Yeah, that's true.
That's amazing.
That's true. I respect that. She's a worker's worker,
hmm
man.
I just
She knows how to
she's
work."
untouchable. Um,
Yeah.
That was that match. The next match then was the Himeka retirement match. Maika beats
Man,
Himeka in 14 minutes with a Michinoku driver. Um,
man,
the ending to this match was so great. Um,
it was beautiful, man.
Maika just being like, please kick out, please kick out, please kick out. Giving her the nastiest headbutt possible. Dropping her on her head with
Saying
Michinoku
"I love you"
drivers.
before she
Yeah,
says it.
like time after time, Michinoku drivering her and sending her into retirement. That is just all with tears in her eyes. That is incredible.
I, I um I saw this on Scott's show yesterday. That's like there was this moment in this match. Because Micah hit the Michinoku driver on Himeka and she kicked out, right? Same as the first match. Himeka became the first person to kick out the Michinoku driver. She kicked out of it again, and the match continued, right? But then Micah hit a second Michinoku driver, and like when she hit it, like she fell to the floor, like she hit her, and they were just there for a second, and they both just started crying a little bit. Himeka less than Micah, but Micah just started bawling her eyes
hmm
out. And it's like that wasn't the finish, but like it was like, oh, this is like the sign that the finish is about to come, right? And that moment completely shattered me.
mm
It broke me, man. Cause like and that's the thing, we didn't get to talk about it. But that ALK versus Mahime match was similar. Cause after the match, Shuri just completely
Yeah.
lost it, right? And it's like I don't know why, but Micah and Shuri are two like fierce, dominant, like incredibly intimidating women, right? Who it's like complete like stoic. I mean, I like Sherry's a bit weird and Mike is a bit weird, but like they personify this like unbreakable human being. And watching them like just be heartbroken that their friend isn't going to be around anymore, it hits on a whole nother level,
Hmm.
right? I think there's a character analysis. There's like a theory in storytelling that if you have somebody who cries all the time, the crowd is never going to cry with them. At some point, they're probably going to laugh at them. But if you have somebody who never cries and cries once, and the crowd doesn't cry, then the crowd are sociopaths. Like that's the most you could do. And that's how it felt with both Micah and Sherry the other week. That's like it just felt like a moment that you can't help but be like, damn, like this means something, you know what I mean? Like this it hurts.
Mm.
It's heartbreaking. And after the fact there was I should probably figure out his name, but the producer, the head producer of Stardom, who usually takes pictures of like behind the scenes shit and stuff, whatnot. Um, he got pictures of Utami crying watching the monitor as the match was ending, and he got a picture of Saya crying, Saya Kamitani, not Kamitani, Saya Ida crying as she was watching um from the crowd, and it's just like this shit means something, man. You know what I mean? And that's the beauty of retirement matches. I think is that it's like wrestling is dumb, and wrestling is stupid, and wrestling is fake, and wrestling is all these things that you can make fun of it for. It's carny. It's fucking. It's like there's a lot of bad in wrestling. There's
Hmm.
plenty of it. Even in the best wrestling, there's plenty of bad. But matches like this and just moments like this kind of just remind you that it's like this means something to a lot of people. You know what I mean? Including me, including you. We wouldn't be doing this for 3 years now if it didn't. Like it means a lot. And yeah, it hurt a lot, but I like that because it means wrestling made me feel something, Alex, and that's what matters.
All reliable, huh?
Some was it Unessential Alex, I think is their name. They tweeted that at me when this match happened. It's like wrestling makes you feel things. I was like, this is what I mean. Like this match was my favorite match of the night because of
Yeah.
that. Because it made me react so viscerally and so passionately that like I saw her come out and I started crying. I heard Mina do the call and I started
Oh
crying again.
yeah.
I saw the finish and I started crying again. It's just like it. I couldn't stop feeling it, right?
Hmm.
And that's the most important part of wrestling, and that's why this match was my favorite match of the night. That's why this match means so much to me. That's why retirement matches in general means a lot to me. This match did remind me a lot of the Kamitsu at a retirement match, just because a lot of the framing of certain things was kind of similar. Uh, and that's like top 3 favorite matches of all time for me, right? So, like, yeah, this match meant a lot to me. I really liked it. I'll let you talk a little bit. I'm sure you want to say something. I'm sorry for kind of taking over there, but
Yeah,
yeah,
well,
I loved
Red
it.
Micah is great. I feel like this is
Yes,
this
that
is
too.
a
That
look
too.
that she should settle on. It's a really good one. Um, and yeah, definitely brings out a little bit more in the presentation.
Honestly, I think she could probably like get like a black and gold
Mm.
gear, and like it would like kill it, like 'cause it would complement the gear. I'm a
Yeah,
nerd,
no, I mean, I
obviously.
feel like the red hair is a good move. And it's one of those
Yes,
things where when we did the guide, we were like, Micah might need to change something to really make the next step. But I mean, something as simple as that could be the next step because I thought the red looked great on her. Um, and yeah, the Himeka's Himeka's dress was lovely. Like that was she
she was
went all
beautiful.
out for that. And yeah, they peppered in all the little stuff with like Mina doing the ring introductions like she did for Himeka back in was it All Japan maybe or Actress Girls or something?
I think it was
Yeah, when
actress,
Mina
but I
did
don't
her
remember.
ring introductions
It
for
was actress.
Himeka.
It was
Yeah,
actress.
so there was a lot of little stuff there to kind of keep people going. But I mean the finish was the most memorable part. I mean it's not often you see a finish like that. But I mean Joshi is great like that because Micah was like, what better way to send my longtime tag partner into retirement than with CTE? Just brutal, brutal CTE. Um, and it was great. And yeah, Micah obviously got the win, which makes sense because that's how it's meant to go. And yeah, no more Himeka. It's well, one more Himeka. She's wrestling Sakura
Well,
Hirota,
wave.
and that's gonna
Yeah.
be amazing.
Is that official?
Yes,
I'm
yeah,
so
that's
happy
that's
for
pretty
that.
crazy.
That's a crazy last
Yeah.
match, though, I will
Oh,
say.
definitely. And then yeah, we send her off at Corkin next month. So that is
Yeah, that'll be rough.
the jumbo farewell.
They will get streamers for that
Oh,
final,
that's
for
lovely.
the
That's really
call.
nice.
Yeah.
The match after.
The website made sure that everybody knew, "Don't you dare fucking throw streamers any other time,
Yeah, they're
motherfucker."
very
I was
very
like,
strict
"Damn,
on that.
okay."
They're a bit weird. Um, the next match on the show was Goddess of Stardom Championship match. Ami Sourei and Mirai won the tag belts by count out in 12 minutes when they beat 7 Up. This has been pretty like universally panned as a load of shit. And
Which
the thing
sucks,
is, I
'cause 7 Up was
yes,
so good.
I don't mind the tag belts changing like this. If it's a rule,
Yeah.
I feel like you should do it every now and then, just to keep people perked up that this is a thing that could happen. But this is not how you end the reign of 7 Up, and this is not how you give Mirai her first title win. Like Mirai and her run in Stardom needs to be studied. Like she
Oh, it's
she went
rough.
from beating Mayu and Julia in back-to-back days to mid-card fodder to a warm body for Hashimoto to throw around to the winner of the worst drawing and least interesting Cinderella final in years.
In history. In history. I'm pretty su like,
Well, not the worst drawing, but
outside
definitely
of
the
the
least interesting.
Are you sure? 'Cause I feel like
They
how much did it draw? Didn't it draw, like,
yeah,
11?
but there was ones I think like 2018 or 2017 was lower.
No,
The
it was
Momo year was
2020.
lower, like definitely. Yeah,
Oh, was
and one
it?
of the COVID years,
Oh, yeah, that
so
was when
they were kind of stuck there.
well, yeah, 2020,
Um,
but yeah.
but like this isn't like, and now she wins her first belt by count out in a match that was a weak match on an amazing
Should have
show.
been better.
Like what?
Yeah.
Like she needs to be studied, man. I don't know. Um, it's definitely disappointing because her and Ami like really leveled up. They had brand new gear, like really good. They like had makeovers with the hair.
This is a really funny joke also, is that Mercedes earlier in the day, Mercedes Mone, tweeted that she was teaching the Stardom girls
Yeah.
about wigs. And I was like, "Oh, that's cute, that's sweet." And then Ami comes out with this great like, this very clean, very nice looking wig, and I was like, "She wasn't fucking
No.
lying, bro." That's crazy. Ami Sourei and Mercedes Moné chopping it up about wigs is a crazy thought, but it definitely happened.
Yeah, I mean it did. And yeah, it's definitely sucks because Mariah and Ami looked good. They had like really put effort into having new gear for this moment where they were going to win the tag belts because these two as a team have chased the tag belts. They've challenged for them 3 or 4 times, and that was like a whole thing. And all that to end in a count out is really shitty for everybody.
Honestly, huh, looking back at this match, like, I'm looking at my notes, and I feel like this is a Yukihi type of thing more than it is a, "Oh, we need to protect you because Yu's good,"
It
type
generally
of way.
feels like
Um,
you and Nanai were like, no, we're not dropping. And I mean,
yeah, because like, I'm even reading my notes because I don't like, the match kinda, like, kinda faded away from me in my
yeah.
memory-wise. I'm looking at my notes, and it's like, Nanai's slapping Mariah like she's a pussy. Um, they love sandbagging each other.
Yes.
Mariah no-sold the T gimmick. Aces high to the outside, count out finish. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, it was just them not wanting to
Hmm.
cooperate. Like, that was the match. And I didn't even notice that in the moment. But now that I'm reading back and like the finish is clear, it looks like Yu is not gonna be around for a while, at the very least. Like, that's just fucking
Hmm.
crazy. Right? Like, on top of it, the match already suffered because of the card placement. I think them right after him making Michael was probably a bad idea. I would have had the artist bouts go first if this match is gonna like reach its full potential, just because it was kind of a styles clash. It's like, oh, Himeka and Micah are the tag team specialists who do powerhouse shit, and then the tag team match with powerhouse shit going right after it was not a great
Yeah.
move. But considering the way that it finished, I get it. Like, they didn't want it to go over anything else on the card. Um, but yeah, it just felt like they didn't wanna cooperate.
No. And I mean, like we knew going into it that you and Mirai didn't really get along. Like I remember very vividly
Yeah. Yeah,
them
me too.
beating the shit out of each other randomly on a house
I put
show.
it in my
Yeah.
preview. I was like, there's a vendetta
Yeah.
there, whatever it is."
Like somebody had to have known. Like this felt like Rossi wanting to have his big moment, and then when the people involved were like, "I'm not doing that," he was like, "Well, fuck it, I'm doing it anyway." And it's like, you should probably do something different. Like you could have done a V0 BMI 2000 thing. You know,
That would have
yeah,
been
like
fun.
you could have done a lot.
I wouldn't have
You know,
even minded that.
if you and I were very much not going to drop to these two specifically, and I imagine it's these two specifically, because Nanai just lost to
Yes.
Waka. So I imagine it
Yes.
is we are not losing to the new eras, and in which case you work around it. You don't try and get cute. Not for your biggest show ever. So yeah, it just feels
Yeah.
like everybody messed up here. And if Seven Up didn't want to drop the belts to these two, I mean, good on you. I wouldn't want to drop the belts to a mid tag team either. But like, Rossi should have worked around that because I doubt this was a late thing. I imagine they were very much like, yeah, we're not like we don't want to.
I mean, if we saw it months ago, then he had
Yeah,
to have.
yeah, literally. Like,
You know what
because
I
I
mean?
remember being like, "Oh, this match could be amazing if you and Mirai like put aside their beef and shoot on each other." But they didn't. It was just, "I don't want to work with you," like very clearly. Which is just crazy. But yeah, that was this is a real black mark on what was otherwise an amazing show. Um, this feels like when like AJW would work with the other crew and they'd have like the LLPW brawlers out there for matches, and you're just like, all right, can this end, please? You know, like as cool as Yashikura and I looked, it is not as fun to watch her in like long tag matches. So yeah, this is kind of that vibe.
And it's a shame because 7-Up's the best part about 7-Up matches is the
Yeah.
closing stretch. Like they can keep you entertained until the closing stretch, and then it's like, okay, now we're gonna have the best match of the
hmm
fucking show. That's usually how it goes. But they didn't get to the closing stretch. I mean, this went what 12
Yeah.
minutes? Did it go 12? Was that it? Like yeah, like they didn't even get to like get into their good stuff, and like the stuff that they did do. Like I said, Mirai no sold it. Like yeah, it's wild that they let this one go on. Like, because the match was fine. Like, I didn't think the
It
match
was
was
all
that
right.
inherently bad. Yeah, I mean, like, it wasn't great, but like, I saw some value in it. Like, some of the stuff was fun, but it wasn't fun enough for it to be like, oh yeah, this was like it was unfinished. I think Scott said is that it's like this match was
Yeah.
unfinished. Like, it was completely just like this is as much as we're willing to do with each other, and we're done.
Yeah.
And that's a
Pretty
shame.
much. I just hope that the new eras don't hold it for long. Like they're like by far the weakest tag team that are a regular team in this
Man, give
company.
it back to fucking FWC like
Yeah.
yesterday.
Or-
If this was how it was gonna end, give it
Yes.
back to
Or
FWC.
I'm pretty sure at this stage, even you would take a Black Desire reign. Like anything is better than the new eras.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
know.
probably. I wouldn't really
Yeah.
mind.
The tag belts really went from like the best thing going to
This
mud.
reminded me of an old New Japan IWGP tag match. Like in my old, I mean like Gallows Anderson
Oh
era,
God, yeah.
right? Not as bad. Not as bad like in ring
That would be
wise.
pretty hard.
And that's something that like is well, yes, but that's the hard thing about this show is that anything I didn't like about it, it's easy to compare it to
Mm.
New Japan, but New Japan is just inherently not as good, right? Because like Sakura Genesis was like probably my second favorite show of the year, but there's such a high level between these two shows, you know what I mean? So it's like I'll like try to compare it almost. I was like, but like it can't really do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought that this match was reminiscent of like uh,
That
really
is
bad
fair.
stuff.
The next match then on the show was the Artists of Stardom Championship match. Saori Anou, Natsupoi, and Kairi beat Kurumi Harage, Suzu Suzuki, and Risa Sera to win the belts in just under 17 minutes when Saori Anou pinned Suzu Suzuki. A new gender is discovered every time people watch the restart entrance. That is the single most mother slay queen thing I've ever seen in my life. I fell to my knees upon seeing it. Um, just incredible, incredible. Like
I'm so excited for Natsupoi to drop his belt.
I'm gonna be so sad. Like that's gonna be a
It's
no,
gonna be
like, that's
so
gonna be a
funny.
hate crime. Like actively, I think it might have to be reported to the police. Um, yeah, the match then was great. I mean, the trios division in Stardom is fantastic. And like this was just high end stuff, like really fun, action packed match with a great finishing stretch. Like that's finishing stretch between Suzu and Ano was really high quality, and obviously They go back a long way, and they have a lot of good chemistry built up. But you know, they really put their best foot forward there.
I was now it makes sense, but I was very shocked how much Restart completely
Mm.
dismantled Prominence. Like it just felt like yes, Prominence had plenty of like they had some times on top, but like at a certain after a certain point, it was just like no, Prominence ain't no nah. And I mean like the stuff was good, but like I was just like damn, like they didn't even give my girls a chance, and it makes sense because that was the last Prominence match on the Stardom show, presumably. You know what I mean? Um, so yeah, I thought it was good. I wasn't as high on it as some people were, as like I think you were, as a few other people were, but I thought it was fun. Similarly, it makes sense now, but at the time I was like, I feel like Karumi could definitely be getting a bit more offense in
Mm.
in this one because I felt like her and Poi showed signs of having a really fun, like Kurumi just tossing her around. At one point, she picked up Poi, and Poi was just screaming as she was slamming her, and it was great. But that was like the only real offense Kurumi got in this match, and I felt like her and Poi could have done a lot more. Um, Suzu just deciding that she wanted to fuck with Kyrie was great. Like hers being like, "No, I'm gonna get you, bro. That's I got a target on your back, homie." Like that's great. I love that. That was really funny and that was really class. Yeah, the match was good. I enjoyed it, but it definitely it kind of made me feel like, damn, Prominence really ain't shit.
Well, I
And
mean,
I hate that
the
because I
the
love
focus of the
Prominence.
match was clearly on Ano and putting her over.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, she got to pin Suzu, and I mean, we've seen the array of people Suzu has beaten recently, so
with a clean
yes,
Bushi
a
roll,
very
I
good
will
one.
say, the deepest Bushi roll you could
Very
possibly
quite
do.
possibly. And like I think this was the biggest indication yet that Anu is committed in some way to Stardom because they do not give her this much when Kyrie is right there if she isn't agreeing to something.
Especially if Suzu signed after
Yeah.
the show, presumably, like having her lose to Ano, that like
Yeah.
that's kind of
Well,
like that
they
is
might want to pick up that
wild.
rivalry because that goes back to Ice Ribbon. Like
Yes,
they have a lot of time there, so
they love picking up Ice
they
Ribbon
do. That's
rivalries.
almost
Let's
half
be
the
real.
promotion. But yeah, I thought they
Yeah,
really went a long way to putting Ano into like top stardom already. Because I mean, for people like us, like we know Saori Anou, we've seen her dominate the scene for a long time. Like we know what a star she is, but to have her re-debut and pin Suzu and get the closing stretch and look so great while doing so, really definitely like for newer fans who haven't seen her, it must have made them think, oh, she's a top star, like right off the bat.
Ano's weird because like I have seen plenty of her looking like a star, and she did look like a star here, but it felt like something was missing, and I know I'm the only person who thinks that. But in comparison to her other work, I just felt like there was a certain level of malaise. I think that's the
Blaze?
correct word. I'm trying to use vocab words. Malaise, yeah. Like there was, I don't even know if that's the right word. I just threw it out because that was what came to my head. It just felt like a certain level of just like almost like Randy Orton esque. Like I am good enough. If
Um,
if I care or
I don't
not,
know.
it's
I feel
cool.
like it's just her vibe. Like she's like, I am ice cold. I'm above all of
This is
you.
true.
I'm gonna kick the shit out of whoever I want, kind of thing. I think that's just her general aura.
But that's true. But I don't know. It felt like it felt strange to see it in Stardom, and I'm
Hmm.
sure I'll get used to it. But it felt like a shock almost. I thought it was good. Like she had a great showing, but it was definitely a shock for me.
That is fair.
Um, Especially because most of the Ano stuff I've seen has been in Oz, and everybody makes fun of me for that. But so it's like the vibes of her tagging with Ozaki in comparison to the vibes of her tagging with Kyrie and fucking Natsupoi, completely
Yeah,
different, right? So like that's
that's
also a
definitely a
part of it.
thing. Like I feel like she's quite miscast currently in her role because she
Yes.
doesn't fit with Natsupoi at all. Like there's such a strange pairing, and even
Mhm.
Kyrie doesn't feel like a natural fit for her. Which I think she's still showing enough of the charisma that she has that it's okay. Like we will eventually see Ice Queen Saori Anou, but just not now. And instead, we're getting.
She needs to drag Mayu Iwatani
I mean,
back
yeah,
in
I
and
wouldn't, I
Sora
wouldn't
to
mind that.
get along and have them
Just
tag there.
don't do
That'd be
the
so fun.
Ozaki stuff, please. That's all I ask.
Well, no, I'm thinking Sendai,
Oh yeah, that's
not
true. I forgot about
Ozaki.
that. Yeah, Anu, big star of the show. One of the big winners from the show, I think, all together. And I enjoyed that artist match. And I mean, Prominence got a lot out of this
I
reign,
will
but Suzu especially, I feel like built up a big cachet over this however many months they've had the belts.
I'm gonna miss Kurumi and Stardom,
Yes, big loss,
but,
big
you know,
loss, definitely.
yeah. Uh, I will say I wanted to push back on your point. Oz Academy,
No,
Ozaki-kun,
no,
Seki-kun, and
no,
yes, it'd be so fun.
no.
It'd be so funny. Get Kakeru in there looking all weird and like, just like, please.
It would be the modern day equivalent of the Zaps.
Did did you? No, oh,
No,
that's
it is
disrespectful.
true.
How dare you? Did you see Kakeru's? Did you see
I
Kakeru's
did.
hair? How it just
Sadly,
like
I
doesn't
did.
look
I'm
like
I'm
it just
I
looks
hate what they're
like
doing.
she's not supposed to be. Yeah, that's not how she's supposed to look. I'm sorry. Like, like she's trying to. Let me know if I'm using this word correctly. She's trying to serve, and she is not serving. Is what I would say. Um, and I love Kakeru. She's great. I think she's great, but it's just not. It's not working for me, Chief.
Oh my god, you're so strange. I love it.
I had to get an Oz Academy discussion out
That
before
is
we talk about
valid.
this next
That is
match.
valid. But yeah, until Saori Anou eventually like breaks Tam's skull, we're getting gay icon restart, and I'm here for it. Like it's giving share constantly. Um, the
Jesus
next match on the
Christ.
show was a Wonder of Stardom Championship match. Mina Shirakawa beat Saya Kamitani with a figure four driver Mina. Um, as soon as she made her entrance, I was like, Mina
Hmm.
Shirakawa said, "I'm her" with this one. Um,
The silhouette
yeah,
dance was crazy.
good.
I
Like
loved it.
her entire presentation was just, I am her. Like this is my moment, and it was fantastic. Um, this match was my favorite match of the show, like by far. This was excellent. I loved it. Um, what was so great about it was
Damn.
they know how WWE fans for a long time were like finish the story. You gotta finish the story, and then the crazy demented old man.
Oh, no, not for a long time. This
Yeah,
is like a
I
meme.
know.
Have you not seen it? You haven't been
Yeah,
on Twitter
but
enough.
you know what I mean. Like they're like, yo, you gotta finish the story, and then the
Yes.
demented old man was like, nah, Roman wins, brother. But Stardom finished two stories at once in this match,
They
and
shouldn't have. They shouldn't have.
that really made the
I think
match.
Saya
That
should have gone on
really,
the Roman reign. That
that
would have been
really
so
made the
fun.
match because Stardom had two different stories that could have hit their apex in this match, and they both did, and that made it really
I
unpredictable.
don't
Because me, it's like Saya got to hit her Phoenix Splash, and it was like, holy shit, Saya's gonna retain. And then Mina kicked out of the Phoenix Splash. I was like, okay, Mina, this is her day. Like this is hers. So like, they kept you on the
I
edge of
hated
your
that.
seat until the match ended because this could have easily been Saya's story or Mina's, and both of them got to hit their finale um, in the one match. So I mean, I was pretty much like on the edge of my seat until the end of this because I wasn't sure whether this was going to be Saya's or Mina's. Um, Although it felt from very early on that this was going to be Mina's win, you could never really tell. Um, so yeah, I was very into it. I thought them climaxing both stories in the one match made it so that it wasn't really clear who was going to win. And I think it made sure that both of them came out of it
Yes.
looking really good because Saya looks ready to take the next step,
I
and Mina gets made into a star. Like this was like they made Mina into something with this show, and I guess we can do a bit more on that later. But yeah, you can criticize it now, you hater.
I just think Saya looked like shit. Like it just didn't like she looked like she's just no longer like I feel like kicking out of the Phoenix was the wrong move. That's how I feel. Because you see it as a climax, I see it as the exact opposite. I feel like okay, Saya's like the move in the company has been kicked out of. Like that is like the strongest move in the entire company to the point where Saya had to stop using it because it was too strong. Like that was kind of the story there for a second. Is that it was far and away the strongest move in the company. She went on a fucking run for I actually did the math. She had the longest major championship reign, or not longest. She had the most winningest major championship reign. The only buddy to come close, the only person to similar to that is Io Shirai, who was V15 or no V14, and then Momo, who was V13, and Tony Storm with the SWA belt when she held it for like 4 years and just defended it everywhere. And that's tied with Saya. So Saya, quite literally, is the greatest champion in the company's history, just in terms of regular defenses. And when Mina kicked out of the Phoenix, I was just like, that's her entire that's her thing, man. How you gonna how you gonna how you gonna kick out of her thing? Like, I will say, if Mina got her knees up, if Saya hesitated for an extra second, Mina got her knees up, and that was the Phoenix. She hit the Phoenix, but it didn't mean anything because Mina kicked out. There would be room left for the Phoenix Splash. This match felt like it didn't leave any room for the Phoenix Splash
I feel like
in the
you're
future. I mean, it
exaggerating a
did
bit
because
because
wrestling doesn't
like
matter.
we've seen every major finisher kicked out of in big matches. Like that's just a staple of putting somebody over.
But the Phoenix Splash is the fucking
Yeah,
Phoenix
but so was that
Splash, man.
Suri fucking one-winged driver thing for a while. And
But that was bad. The Phoenix Splash is good, Alex. It's
right,
very simple,
but
okay?
like I said the same
Like,
about Micah letting Himeka kick out of the driver, and you were like, no, it's fine actually. And you were right.
well, then after that, I
Okay.
got upset
Alright.
because once other people started kicking
Okay.
out of it, then it was dumb.
So, I mean, what if nobody else kicks out of the Phoenix? Is it fine then? Is it okay?
I also, I mean, part of this is just
Yeah,
anti-Mina
you gotta
sentiment,
like
right?
check yourself
Like,
here.
part of that, I will 100% recognize that. That part of it is like, because you are right. It could just be, oh, she's the only person to ever kick out of the Phoenix, but like, Mina isn't
But she
that
was made
guy,
into that guy
in
on
my
this
opinion.
show. That was the entire purpose. Like
But
this,
no,
she was the biggest star to come out of this show, like easily.
I don't want to sound like a hater, but I'm just because you want to know exactly what I wanted to say? I don't see it. Like that's genuinely what I wanted
How
to say in
blind are
response to
you
that.
then?
Not because I think
Like,
she's bad. Not because I think she's bad. Not because I think that she is undeserving. It's just because I don't see it.
how
I
do you
don't
not
see like
hear it?
the fact
This
that
crowd was going
Saya
bonkers.
the fact that
Can you
Saya
not hear
can
it?
pin Utami with the Phoenix and then not pin her with the like that like it just it's a schematic thing, right? And then after that, it kind of had that Himeka issue where, yes, like I was like, what the fuck is going to happen now? But at the same time, Saya had nothing left to do. So for the last couple minutes, she just was just eating offense and trying to figure something out. And that sucks. Like that's a part of the match that like either sells a match or makes it worse. I don't know which one for this one. I'll probably have to rewatch it. And hey, maybe if I rewatch it and I, with a clearer mind and it's not 4 a.m., maybe I will be a little bit less down on the Phoenix thing. But yeah, that took me out of the match a lot, I will say. Because I was like, so what do we do now? Like she is the Phoenix and she's got totally defeated in a way that doesn't really allow for retribution. I'm not saying that's retribution towards Mina, but just retribution as a wrestler.
It's
Um,
insane.
there's no
She
room
looked
for
like
it.
she came away from this just as strong as she went in. I don't know, like she's just come off one of
I
the
don't see
greatest
that at
runs in the
all.
company history. Like she's gonna do
Yes,
great things. When
I
like
agree,
Io
but
didn't
I
drop
would
to
say
Momo and suddenly like you were like, ah, this bitch is a jobber. Like you know, like
okay. I feel like somebody has to understand my hang up about the Phoenix because you don't, and
like
that's fine. That's fair. But somebody has to understand that it's like it's a very unique thing here. I would have probably been upset with most people kicking out the Phoenix. Like outside of like Utami, I would have
okay.
probably been upset with that. Really. Like that's just like truthfully, because it feels like that
Everything has
big
to
of
be
a
kicked out
move.
of eventually. I mean,
I don't think it was the time though,
she was
because
putting
I mean,
over.
if
She was.
everybody, if every white belt champion is getting a red belt reign, then she needs
She can
something to
win with
win
the
that red belt,
Phoenix
man.
if nobody else kicks out of it. Because that's how finishers work sometimes. Like Kenny has let people kick out of the one-winged angel, and it was still
He's let one
how
person
many
kick out
people
of the
have
one
kicked out of the
winged angel.
Phoenix?
It was Kota Ibushi.
Okay.
One person. Mina Shirakawa and the gay, like, no, the Golden
But
Lovers is
but
different, okay? It's different.
Mina is made into like one of the top few people in this company on this show. Like, should she not be kicking out of it? Like, she's in that top tier now. Like, she's up there with Julia and Mayu and Suri.
Oh, don't say that, man. Oh no, you
She's
made
a
it
faction
worse.
leader. She's a
Like Julia's
faction
one
leader.
thing.
That's how you do it.
Oh my
She is one of the
god.
top people.
I don't want to think about this no more.
Like, I don't understand.
This is
This
like
is this
therapy,
is
man.
your
This is
Tam
like therapy.
moment.
You're like
This is your
exposing
Tam
my
moment.
trauma.
Because for
You're
ages, people
exposing my
were like,
trauma.
"Why is Tam winning? She's a mid carder." And it's like, do you not have eyes? She's a main eventer, and people eventually got it.
No, and that made sense even if I didn't like it, right? She got her face broken, bro. That's her
Wrestling is stupid, and that made her the biggest
that's
babyface.
that's a
Did you not
claim to
hear the
fame,
crowd on this show? They were going crazy for her.
man. Somebody else has to get
I just think
my
you're
problem with the
overthinking it.
Phoenix thing.
Like when you overthink wrestling, it all falls apart.
This is
Like
true.
Utami still
And I
uses
mean
the
that was
power
that was
hacker.
we'll talk about that with Julia
Okay,
Tam. We'll
yeah,
we'll talk about that with Julia Tam because when you overthink
yeah,
wrestling, it ruins it. And that was my roller coaster with Julia Tam, which I liked more than Mina Saya.
it
I'm
was
gonna be real.
incredible. But yeah, Saya or Mina Shirakawa made into a star here, like a big star. Crowd was
It was
super
a
into
really good
her.
match.
It was a great match. I think she's gonna have a fun reign.
Yeah,
If you give me like her, like imagine her versus
hopefully she loses
Mirai
it.
with her limb work, Mirai being so fiery.
Mariah probably
No,
beats her.
but that would be an excellent match. Her and Himeka sharing a hug as she was leaving after the match was great.
That was sweet.
But yeah, this was Mina's "I'm her" moment. This was the moment she arrived, and I think she probably won the night. Like there is nobody who came out of this show looking better than Mina Shirakawa. Um, and Saya Kamitani, she's gonna be fine. She's gonna do amazing things, and it's gonna be interesting to see what she does after this. Um, After that, we had Shuri beating Chihiro Hashimoto in 16 minutes via KO. Um, this
This
was
is
when
very
I
good shit.
realized the pacing of the show was really good because they followed up a lot of the like dramatic moments with just physicality. Because these two just battered the shit out of each
Yeah,
other. This was just two titans
this is
taking
wonderful.
chunks off each other in hopes of winning. It was so fun.
Yeah, this is wonderful. I loved it. I loved every moment of it really. Like this like I literally wrote this was
Yeah,
real wrestling,
real
right?
graps.
This was that shit right here. Real graps. And I thought it was great. Some of the strikes
Oh
literally made
man.
me flinch. Like I just like I was just like fucking uncomfortable at certain points and it was great. Um Sherry's
Oh
headbutts,
dear God, that
fucking
was.
psycho. Disgusting human being. It was insane. Um, yeah, I didn't have much to write about this match because I was just enjoying it and like it was just a struggle, and that's the beauty of Chiro
Mhm.
Hashimoto matches is that they feel like they are a
She's
struggle,
very
like they
real.
are like
She brings a
this.
yeah.
She's a mountain to climb, right? And that's what made that Mia Momento match from years ago
Mhm.
so fucking good. Actually, that set of the the guy is a match and that Mia Momento singles, it made it feel like Chiro Hashimoto is this true mountain that you must climb, and you must topple, or else you're just your arms are too short to box with the god. You know what I mean? Like it was great, and I thought that Shuri really came out looking phenomenal. Um, Hashimoto did she did make sure that the first person to beat her 3 times in singles competition, uh, only did it kinda because she stood up,
Yeah,
but she
very,
fell back down.
I love that, I love that. It was like, I got up, but I didn't get up enough. Yeah, that's old school, I like that.
Yeah. So, she's lost 2 and a half
Yeah,
times, Shuri.
it's fine, it's fine.
She
Yeah.
ain't hit that 3 yet, you know? Yeah, I
Yeah,
find
no,
that really funny. I
it's
love
great, it's
politicking,
really
man.
fun. Yeah, this was a fantastic match. A real, like it was almost a clash of styles because you had, like, the power technician against the technical striker, and they were both using that, like, difference to
Yeah.
their advantage. Like, Hashimoto was throwing this woman around, and Siri was kicking the shit out of her. It was
Yes.
just interesting to see that, how, like, which style would come out on top there. Um,
I mean, yeah, and that's kind of a great because I've talked about this with my buddy who's like big on MMA, big into UFC. He was like, yeah, so like Shuri, phenomenal striker, like even like in legitimate, like even in a UFC fight,
mhm,
phenomenal striker. But her grappling was like okay,
yeah,
so she lost. Like that's what happened. And Shiro Hashimoto doesn't really hit you, but she will grapple the fuck out of you
Mhm.
and make you die, right? Like that. And the fact that like that is so real, right? Because Shiro Hashimoto is a
An
legitimate
Olympic level wrestler.
amateur wrestler, and Shuri is a legitimate, yeah, yeah. She almost made the Olympics. And Shuri is a legitimate kickboxer who has won championships in kickboxing, has won legitimate mixed martial arts contests. Like the fact that that is so real, like this is what
Mhm.
Inokiism was meant to be, right? Like like and not to get into like all of that, but really like this was the foundation of like yeah, like the best martial artists should come to pro wrestling and try to do pro wrestling at the highest degree and vice versa
Mhm.
and see how it works. And that's what they did here. Like two phenomenal martial artists in different disciplines absolutely killed it. And it was one of my favorite matches of the
Definitely.
night.
And I mean, it was really good in that they both have this star aura. Like they could have got by on just being two big stars, but they didn't. Like
Yes.
because this was a clash of like these two essentially unbeatable women, which you don't always get.
Yeah.
And they really went at it then from there. And Shuri winning was the obvious end goal. Like we keep saying it, she's the new Io Shirai. She is, whether she's a champion or not, she is the top wrestler in Stardom. That's like the generally accepted thing. She's the best wrestler in the company. So her fending off the outsider and saving that for whenever somebody else beats her in Stardom is going to make it more important, given that Shuri just fended off this like vicious, untouchable outsider. Um, this is a nice little story for Suri to get not only a big singles match on this show, but also to continue building her legacy.
I'm also very happy with it because she's in my fantasy
Oh, good stuff.
roster. So she won a big match. And also she said that she calls out Sendai
Yes,
Girls
she
as
wants
a
to team
company.
with
She wants to wrestle
Hashimoto as
more of them.
well. Should be
Um
very chill.
yeah,
Somebody's
which
gonna die.
means if she wrestles in Sendai Girl, no, if she wrestles in Sendai Girls is also eligible in our fantasy. So that means I get more points for every match that Shuri wins in both Sendai Girls and Stardom. I'm fucking like I'm rocking with it, even though she's not winning a championship match, which means it's kind of useless.
Hmm.
I'm happy. This
Okay,
is a win.
stuff.
Yeah, I'm excited. Even though there's like
Yeah,
four people in
I
Sendai
don't
Girls, I
know.
don't know what they're gonna do.
Just a tag probably. But yeah, that'd be interesting to see when they pick that up because I mean, Shuri and Hash are gonna kill somebody. So, um, next match then
Yeah,
after that was the IWGP Women's Championship match. Mayu Iwatani beat Mercedes Mone in 13 minutes
she beat her.
yes, with a two-stage Dragon Suplex hold. All credit to Mercedes Mone. Mayu beat the shit out of this woman. I have not seen Mayu
Yeah,
do this in a long time. Like those kicks were horrifying. She,
I also loved it because she tweeted before the match. She's like, "I don't think you guys get it. Like, you're gonna see a different Mayu. It's been a while.
yeah.
It's been a while." I was like, "Ooh, she's gonna like hit her." I didn't expect
Mhm.
this
She
because she
she
just,
killed this woman.
oh my
She
god,
absolutely battered her.
like Mayu is a fucking, she's like
She's
a
she's a psycho.
monolith.
It's incredible.
Like, cause like you don't expect Mayu to throw Shuri level kicks, and I don't use that term lightly. Like kickboxer level kicks, and she just did to Mercedes' face, like just
Yeah.
cause she attacked her a few times. Like that's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
like like she has so many gears that you forget that, and like her second gear is already one of the greatest wrestlers to ever live. Once she hits like that sixth, she's just you can't contest ever. And she doesn't even do that much. Like that's like she's she's Mayu.
Yeah, that is it. But I really enjoyed this because not only was it physical, but it just did what it needed to do, right? Like
Yeah.
Mercedes, tried to take the fight to Mayu. Mayu beat the shit out of her. Mercedes,
Oh, and Mercedes is a fucking selling
yes, she is.
monster, by
She's
the way.
great.
One of the best sellers in like
Oh,
ever.
easily. So you had that, and then you had Mercedes getting too big for her boots, and Mayu said, "I'm done. Like I'm winning." And that's all you need. Like they told from A to B, they told a very tight, efficient story. The wrestling was great, and that was it. Like that's all you needed. Like to me,
And
that's an excellent
it
match.
was really the Mercedes arc,
Mhm.
because the first match with Kyrie, really great match, but it was very cute,
Mhm.
right? And it was very American. Like it was a American match. Like so they had their time, but Mercedes did her WWE stuff a lot, right? And that's okay because it was a great match regardless. It was, still top 10 match of the year for me. I loved it. But it was very specific, right? Then the Sakura Genesis match, she did Azumi's moves basically. She did high speed moves and she didn't really have to, delve into her moveset too much. And this is the first match where it's like she dove into like this like moveset that she thinks she can use to win and she just got eaten alive. So there's room for Mercedes to like grow and improve her moveset and add more things to her add more things to her repertoire, so to speak. And she already has stuff that she didn't use in this match, and there's so much potential for another match down the
Mhm.
line where Mercedes looks even better. Like this was a Mayu match, quite frankly, and some people aren't going to like that, and some people don't like that, right? Because Mercedes is Mercedes, but there's so much room for Mercedes to be the star of an even better match than this sometime in the future, and this was already a really great match. So
Yeah.
I'm very happy with it. That's one piece of news we didn't talk about is that she is relatively long term,
Mhm.
as far as we know. Even though she's not, like Fightful says one
Oh,
thing,
the
Meltzer says
way
another
like
thing, she says a third thing.
every word from it is, and even just her herself, like I don't think she wants to stop. Like she seems to be having the time of
Yeah.
her life here. Um, Even after the match, she just seemed so genuinely overjoyed at what she did. And there was an interview that kind of went under the radar where she said a lot of similar stuff to Chris Jericho of like, I feel creatively very free. My ideas aren't being turned down all the time. I really feel like my juices are flowing here. So, um,
Mhm.
like I don't suspect she'll be working, flashing champions or something. But I mean, there's no doubt she's gonna come back to Stardom. Especially considering Dave reported that this did 5 times more pay-per-views than usual.
That's kind of concerning though, I will say,
Yes.
because she has every right to say, "I want your entire fucking I want all the horses in the bag,
Yeah.
brother." You know what I mean? Like she could and they would be like, "Yeah, it's kind of
Yeah.
fair."
I mean, it's, if she keeps doing business, then that's how it goes. But like, I mean, if she, did brought that much business to Stardom, and by most accounts, she was very receptive and giving a lot of ideas, and she seems very into it. Then yeah, I mean, I don't see why she wouldn't back.
I don't know if I doubt you saw it. Her, Mojo Rawley, and Act Yasukawa went to dinner the
It's
other day.
incredible. Like she's just
Such a
living the
such
life.
a crazy such a
Yeah,
crazy amalgamation of
she's
people.
having the time of her life. It's incredible. And yeah, I mean, I get the sense that she would want to do a lot more with Stardom. Especially with the wrestlers there, I can't imagine she would want to pass up a Julia match. Like they've already started building to a match with Julia. Um, can't imagine she doesn't want to wrestle Suri. Like Suri's one of the best around. I'm sure she's aware of that. So yeah, I think there's a lot of legs still to what she can do in Stardom. And like I said last week, her character shift was so strong, and she seems so open to like showing up for smaller shows to build to the matches. She didn't need this belt.
Yeah,
Like she can just attack Suri,
I
and that's it. You have a
it
match.
is very
It is.
Jericho. 'Cause, like, he showed up on what, Road to
Yeah.
Destruction that one year and was like, "Fuck
Yeah.
evil, bro. I'm gonna fucking kill him because I wanna beat up Naito." And it's like, that's great,
Mhm.
like, perfect, like, just do that, like, and have good matches unlike Jericho, so, like, that's great. I yeah, Mercedes is phenomenal. I'm so happy that she is everything that we hoped she
Mhm.
was, right? Because if she wasn't, it would be very sad.
Yeah,
I'd be very
I mean,
disappointed, and
this
it
run has
it'd be
been
like,
so
"Damn."
like fun, just so fun.
And, like, it puts people over, man. I mean, you don't know how happy I am that Azumi was, like, the first
Yeah.
person that she called out, right? Because like, that's my girl, and, like, fucking I love her to death, and she's one of my favorite wrestlers, like, of all time. So getting that rub and having a really good match with her, like, that's I love it, and it's
Mhm.
perfect, and I'm very happy with the Mercedes run so far. Mayu headbutted the belt when she was being given it, which is great. I
It
love
was,
that.
I was gonna bring
um,
that up actually, because I don't know why, but everything just hits different when it's Mayu. Like, I fist pumped when she won this match. Like, there's just such a visceral joy to seeing Mayu succeed. Like, it's like
yeah,
part of it is obviously she is Stardom. Like we say it all the time. She is Stardom. Like without her,
she's the
there's
one.
this company is so different without her. I think another part of it is just you're seeing somebody who's going to go down as one of the all-time greats add to her legacy, because that's not something you get to do often. I mean, we weren't alive to see the heyday of Aja Kong or Minami Toyota or anything like
Yeah,
that. We're here to see Mayu Iwatani write her legacy, and I think there's something to that that just feels really special. And obviously just the built-in like enjoyment of seeing her succeed, because she has been this constant underdog presence where you just want to root for her the entire time. So seeing her win is just so much more special than seeing anybody else win.
yeah. Um, you mentioned the finishing the story bit,
Hmm.
right? Um, and for me personally, I didn't get that much on this show because the two people who finished their story, quote unquote, I'm not super big fans of. But Mayu winning is never not fun, right? It always feels good. Like if you I get it if Mayu's not your favorite wrestler in the world, but if you don't like Mayu, I don't understand you. Like
Yeah.
you get what I'm saying? Like that just it just doesn't make like people dislike Julia, people dislike Tam, people dislike Azumi, and I get it. Fair. Not your cup of tea. If you don't like Mayu, it doesn't make sense to me. Like that's just how I feel. Um and it did feel good. It always feels good to see Mayu win. I think the pessimist in me and like the doomer in me did take a negative out of this, is that it's like this is the last belt Mayu needed to win.
Mm.
There's nothing left, right? And that's concerning. I mean, she could always win another belt. Like she could always win the white belt again, and nobody
Yeah.
would fucking care. Nobody would be upset. And if they are, again, don't get it. Nobody would be particularly upset if she won the white belt at some point again, or won the red belt at some point again, for that matter. But it is a bit concerning. You know what I mean? Because I don't want that to be the last one.
I
You know what I
mean,
mean?
I feel like it's inevitable that she gets a gold watch, a red belt run to separate her from the rest, make her the first ever three-time world champion. Um,
Yeah.
so I mean, I would imagine that'll happen eventually. So this is certainly not the last belt she's gonna win, but it's certainly foreseeable future the biggest moment she's gonna get.
Had to knock on wood.
Well, yeah, that's true. But yeah, I mean, she definitely got to finish the story. She always felt like a natural winner of this belt because she can just kind of plug in anywhere, really. Um, and
Yeah.
I mean, we have no idea who's gonna challenge her. I was pretty sure Saori would be the first challenger, but as we mentioned earlier, she is ducking Mayu now, so that is off the cards. Um, so I don't know. I don't really know where the belt goes, but it's in safe hands with Mayu anyway.
Yeah. I don't know what, because I don't think she's going to
No.
Resurgence because
Yeah,
Mercedes is going to be
it's
there.
a weird one.
Um,
The whole expansion of Stardom,
I feel like Dominion's the next spot,
yeah,
but
been
Dominion, like, there's only one big show before Dominion, and they would kind of have to set something up there unless they do it on a, excuse me, a Super Junior tour show,
Super
which
Junior
doesn't
finals maybe.
like they set it up. I mean, yeah, that's true. That's true.
They could
Super
just
Junior
announce
Finals
a
is bigger
match.
nowadays than
Like
it used to be.
I don't know. The expansion of Stardom
They
is
could set it
really
up
odd.
anywhere.
It's in a really odd place. Like
Oh, 100%.
Mercedes was meant to be the leader of it, and then they were like, "Yeah, no, actually, we're fine. She's gonna work one American date," and it's like, okay, cool. Um,
To be fair, and I didn't get to talk about this yesterday, but I wanted to with Scott, is that I think this match got less time than it was supposed to.
um, potentially.
Because no, for a very specific intentionally, I mean, but for a very specific reason, because they moved the matches a
Mhm.
couple days earlier, right? It used to be this was like fourth from the top or whatever, third from the top maybe, and then it became second from the top, and and everybody was like, okay, cool, so it'll be the summer main event, and then she apparently signed an extension.
Mhm.
I think at that moment they thought, okay, we could run this match back. It doesn't need to be 25 minutes.
Yes. Oh yeah, they're doing this again. Like
Because
definitely.
yeah, 100%. But because if you look at a lot of just wrestling shows in general, they usually have a steady incline of
Mhm.
time, right? And this is the only one that like strays from that completely. 13 minutes compared to a 60-minute match before, a 70-minute match before that, 60-minute match before that, and then back to 12 for the tag match. Like this is the only match that strays from that formula. So I think they moved it up because it was a bigger deal, quite frankly. But then they cut the time so that they could have more left over for
Mm.
next time. So if anybody, and I don't think anybody who was listening cares about them only getting 13 minutes, but if you do, I think that's probably why, is because they definitely have plans to uh, elevate the match in the
Yeah,
future.
I mean maybe historic crossover. Yeah.
I could see it. I'd be cool
I
with it.
mean,
Mayu losing 2 years in a road, kind of
well,
rough if that
she might
does happen
retain. I don't know.
though.
I mean, I don't know. I assume that the dome match is the angle for Mercedes, but I don't know how you get there.
Yeah,
But
me neither.
yeah, that's that one. I thought it was great that they got 13. It was a nice, like they just told the story they needed to, and they sent it home, and Mayu beat the shit out of her.
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, if you bought the show just for Mercedes, I can see why you might be upset, but I wouldn't buy a show for just one wrestler, but that's just me. Um, but yeah, that was that match, and then we are on to the main event, the World of Stardom Championship match. Tam Nakano beats Julia in under 24 minutes with a violet screwdriver. My jaw dropped
What the fuck,
when the three
dude?
was counted.
I wasn't looking at the
It
fucking
was incredible.
screen.
Only you.
I like looked at, like I saw the move. I was like, "Oh shit, that's dope." And I looked down at my phone and then
Yeah,
she pinned her.
my jaw
Like
dropped. I was
for
so shocked.
credit to them. This match felt way shorter
Yeah,
than 23
definitely.
minutes.
It kind of blew by.
Like I think that was it. Was that's why I was like shocked, because usually a big Julia match that's over 20 minutes, you can feel it. Whether it's good or bad, you can kind of
Mhm.
feel it. I didn't feel this at all. And that's why I was like, "Oh, fuck, I missed it."
Yeah, I mean I felt like the finish was coming when Julia kicked out of the tiger suplex thing.
I also don't pay much attention to
That's
Tam's
fair because when
finishes,
she
to be
kicked
fair.
out of the tiger suplex, I was like, she might lose. And then yeah, the violet screwdriver came along, and I went, oh shit, she's losing. But it definitely went from like naught to 100 very quickly. But yeah, like I was just shocked because even though we had said it, and when Julia won the belt, we said she could lose this in 2 months or 2 years. There's no
Yeah.
read whatsoever on where this is going. But I mean, last week had me convinced that Tam wasn't going to win because they were starting her downfall. And I was like, oh, they're going to have the downfall and she'll come back up and she'll win it later. No, she won it here, which is so surprising.
Which is preferable. I would say it's
Yeah,
preferable because I don't want to drag out
I
the
mean,
Tam sucks and then
yeah.
eventually
Well,
doesn't suck.
it's good in two
You know?
accounts because you can do another Julia Wonder or world title run down the line, and she's got a lot left in the back pocket. But also it breaks that
Yeah.
streak. It adds that unpredictability because the year-long
Yes.
red belt reigns, and then you lose to the GP winner had kind of gotten repetitive. And now they've broken that streak, and everything's a lot more interesting right now. Um, as shocked as I was like, okay, like that's they've done a lot of good here. The match itself, um, like it was great,
Hmm.
but to me was not on the level of their best efforts. Yeah,
Really?
like I just feel like they
I probably preferred this one.
promised a level of violence that they never delivered on. Like
This is
I've
true.
seen the table spots. You do table spots every time, Julia. I've seen you do shoe headbutts, and these were some nasty shoe headbutts. I will admit, one of them was sickening. The first one was
Yes.
absolutely sickening, but every match on the show almost had a shoe headbutt. So when you're trying to sell me that this is the most violent match possible and you're just doing shit that you've already done, it's like, okay, I like it's great, but it's not satisfying that urge for the violence here.
This match gave me a spiritual awakening.
Really.
And I mean that in a way that probably doesn't make sense to anybody. What I mean is I got it
Hmm.
for the first time. And I'm gonna, I know that we're approaching time, but I this is a big match. I think I can articulate a little bit. For a long time, I've been trying to figure out Julia Tam. 'Cause I just don't get it.
Mhm.
I never got it. From the time they started, I hated the first 3 matches or so, uh, or the first 2 matches at least. The hair versus hair match was, like, solid. I didn't like their match last year. Uh, like, it that's just how it works. Uh, in this match, I watched it, and we were expecting that level of violence. We were expecting blood maybe. We were expecting maybe a stipulation, an impromptu stipulation, so that's a bit more lenient with rules, and they can not a plunder match, but they could like really just like push it to
Yeah.
another level. And they didn't do that. They started the match by grappling.
Yeah.
And I stared at my screen in bewilderment, just flabbergasted. I was hoodwinked, I tweeted. I was expecting something more than a feud between two women who, quote unquote, just don't like each other. That's all it is. And that's okay. I've been trying to figure out what this fucking feud means, why it's lasted so long, why the fuck they hate each other so much, why this is happening again for the 6th time. And during this match, when they went through all of their campy spots that they do every time, just with a different flavor to it, they do a fucking pile driver onto the table one time, they throw him onto the table next time. They do a violet shooting off the ramp one time, and they do a violet shooting a little bit further down the ramp another time. It's the same shit. As I was watching all of these tropes and all of these campy just spots that they do every time, I realized that that's it, and that's okay. I don't expect much more from this. And I thought this was going to be the last Julia Tam match. So I was like, you know what? I'll enjoy this for that. Because this is the last time I'm going to see it. It's not the last time I'm going to fucking see it, Alex. My world was shattered when Tam won. Not because I'm like this like Tam hater. I'm not a big Tam fan, but I'm whatever. But because I realized that the story was finished, but the story wasn't over. And that sucks because I don't want to see this again. This was good. I really enjoyed this match. Probably my favorite Tam Julia match, but it's because I allowed myself to accept it for the campy shit it was and not expect much more out of it. And then they told me, "Don't wait, don't worry, you're going to get some more of it." And that's funny.
Yeah.
I think that's a cell phone for me, and I think people can find some joy in that.
That's fair. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was a great match, but it was just like the standard, I guess. That was the only issue. And for me, sometimes Julia leans way too hard into no selling. Like there was a good 5 minutes there where she just didn't
Yes,
sell a single move, and I was like, honey, listen.
to the point where somebody tweeted like Julia doesn't know fighting spirit, and I was like, that's
Yes.
we're doing that.
Yeah,
We're
she
doing
she
that. I was
really
like, I get it, but we're
she
doing it.
really doesn't. She really just has no understanding. And it's like, Julia Queen, I love you when you were violent, but the no selling has to go. Um,
I will say, I've been lower on her championship reign than most people because of
yeah.
that. Because it's just like it feels not only does it feel similar to each match with certain levels of like sporadicness or like, individuality, but also it's just like it's not that intense. Like I said with the crying thing, right? If you have somebody cry a million times, nobody's gonna cry for them. If you have Julia break somebody's back a million times, nobody's gonna flinch anymore.
Yeah.
And like I know that that's like a deep thing that you kind of have to figure out in wrestling how to kind of like, and I'm not saying that like in the deathmatch way where it's like, oh, this is too much. It's like, no, just you need to add to the game. And I'm happy that in that way I'm happy that Julia lost the belt and kind of has to figure his shit back out, because I don't think that the reign was working personally, because the Mayukihi match was fun, but not because it was a Julia title defense. It was because it wasn't,
Okay.
in fact. It was because it was whatever the fuck
Yeah.
that was. The Suzu match wasn't that good.
Yeah.
Frankly, I thought it was good, but it was like it was fine,
It's weird
like
because she was
solid.
doing like the best work of her career in the lead up to winning the belt, and then had an amazing
Yeah,
title win. And then yeah, her and Suzu just did like the most paint by numbers arena main event. So yeah, I mean, I get it, and I definitely think her worst tendencies were showing here. Because Because yeah, she's I love Julia, but I'm more than willing to accept that she has her faults. And one of those is sometimes she just refuses to sell and think that's cool. And I'm like, I don't know, I'm not into that. And there was a lot of that in this match. So yeah, it was it wasn't like a downer or anything. It was a great match, but it was certainly far from my favorite on the show. Um,
This match was like the scream of wrestling
I
matches. Cause like I love
I don't
Scream.
know what you've
I
been
enjoy Scream a
smoking, but
lot.
you've been making some strange references throughout this entire show. Like you just
Yeah,
reached an entire new level of zen somewhere along the way in the past 2 or 3 days.
this match just broke
It's
my
so
brain.
funny.
This show broke my
Like
brain,
some of
man.
the stuff you've
Uh,
said is
this
so hilarious.
But, like, no, like, it's that campy shit that you kind of enjoy, but also, like, why do they keep making new ones, man?
Yeah, that is fair.
Even though I haven't watched a new one, I'm sure it's good. I'm excited to see it, but, like, really, like, that's kind of how I feel, is that it's, like, it's that campy shit that you like, that you want to see, but that it's like, "Oh, we still okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, go off." It's a match about nothing. It's like Seinfeld. I was actually gonna write an article
Oh my
about that,
God.
about how this match is like Seinfeld. I'm not joking. This isn't like that Scream one was off the dome, but I was thinking about like why I like Seinfeld and why I don't like this because they're both things about nothing. Um, but yeah,
Um,
this show
that
broke
is
me.
fair. I where was I gonna go with this? Um, you spoke for so long that I simply lost it. Um,
I do that.
yeah, the
Was it
no.
about this show
So
in comparison to
so
AJW?
the thing with Tam is
Mm,
Saori Anou is going to throw this woman through the barbershop window. Like every time Anu shares the
yes.
same space as Tam, she looks like she's holding back the urge to beat the shit out of her. So are we assuming that Anu versus Tam is the big, potentially the Dream Queendom match? Is Tam holding it that long? Is that the type of champion Tam is?
No, wait. See, that's the beauty of this. Because the Mina Rain, I don't expect to go past the 5-star, quite frankly. And I know you push back on that a lot, but like she's getting a defense next week. She'll get a defense 2 weeks after that. She could lose it V3,
Mhm.
V4. Like that's not unrealistic. With Tam, I don't fucking know.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know who wins it from her. I don't know when. I don't know if it's going to take a year. I don't know if it's going to take a month and a half. Like she might V0 for, I mean, she won't, but it's possible. I mean, look at what they did to fucking Naito. Like he beat Kenta and then COVID happened and then he lost to Evil. Like he defended the belt like twice
Yeah.
at most or something crazy like that. And Tam is supposed to be Stardom's Naito type of thing. So it could be absolutely nothing. Or it could last until next All Star. Uh, I don't know.
Yeah.
With Mina, I feel like okay, I'm excited to see who can beat her, but I feel like it's not going to last too long. With Tam, it it could end in 2 weeks or it could end a year and a half from now. Same with
Tam,
Julia.
I feel like 12 months is the cap. I feel like either
Yes, I
Anu
mean
beats her
uh,
or like Utami at the next, whatever this show is going to be called next year.
they should give it to
I
Utami.
feel like
They should
it's
give it to
Utami,
Utami.
because her and Tam have been wrestling a lot in tournaments, but they've always had draws, and so Utami challenging Tam
I
and
feel like
taking the
Utami beat
belt
her
off
last
her.
time.
I don't know, I can't remember, but like they've been a tournament exclusive feud.
Yes, yeah.
They've still got a big match in them, and I think Utami has been waiting
And
long enough.
Utami Julia could develop into
Yes,
like it could be Utami to Julia next.
Utami Julia is the big one. So I suspect
Yeah.
either like Saori Anu beats her or Utami beats her, and at the most it will be until this whatever the equivalent of this, All Star Grand Queendom is next year, because they've called it different names every
Oh
year.
well, no, they've only drawn once.
Really?
Utami beat her in the 5-star
Yeah.
last year. Tam beat her in the 5-star the
Okay.
year before, and Utami that was her debut match. That Utami beat Tam, like her second
Right.
match ever. She
Okay.
beat Tam. That was
So they've got a
crazy.
fairly even record anyway, and they've yeah.
Yeah,
So
pretty
I
much.
I would suspect Utami might be the one to take it off Tam, and Anu will be like one of the big defenses because I mean they've not been shy about Anu not liking Tam. So that's just seems interesting.
Yeah, I am in hell because the astronauts are never going to
Yeah,
subside.
yeah, it's their world and we're living in it. I mean, Meltier released their album and they both won belts, and that's how that works.
That's so dumb. Natsupoi winning is
You
like,
leave
bro.
Natsupoi alone, or I swear to God, we'll
No,
come for you.
I enjoy
We'll find you.
I enjoy Natsupoi matches. What does she know about winning in 2023? She
This is
doesn't. Like,
disgraceful. This is horrendous. Anyway, we've gone for a long time. There's like
this is true.
there are there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 shows in the next 10 days. So
We're gonna have to record early again next week to do the pay-per-view.
lovely. All right. Well, we're gonna figure that out, and
We could just do the weekend show, like
yeah,
the shows that are left in
yeah,
April.
okay. Um, excuse me.
It disconnected and reconnected. I think we're good.
All right. Yeah, the recording thing is getting a bit weird. So we should probably quit it.
Rush to
Yes.
finish.
But anyway, All Star Grand Queendom 2023. What a show! Amazing night. Even if we have
Great
our
show.
reservations, there was so much amazing wrestling. It's hard not to love it.
Oh yeah, like like I said, I didn't get that Sonata moment that I got at Sakura Genesis, but like I tried to compare the two, and I was like, this show is just too good,
Yeah.
man. Like I can't be like, oh, but I got to see Sonata win, like that was dope. It's like, but every match on this show, Dylan, like it doesn't really work like that. So yeah, great show.
Yeah.
It's probably gonna go down show of the year if the 5-star final isn't
Yeah.
like literally the
Which
greatest
it
show of
probably
all
won't
time.
because it's in the Yokohama Budokan, which is an insanely weird decision.
Strange
We do not
choice.
have time to
I
dig
feel like
into that.
Oda Ward would be a
Yes,
better.
and they're opening the tournament
Yeah,
at Oda Ward, so it's equally weird.
bizarre.
But yeah, before this recording thing cuts out on us, it is time to close the show. We will be back next week to talk all of Golden Week and Jumbo Forever, which is the Wave X Bushiroad show.
Oh, we didn't even preview these shows. Goddamn.
Yeah, we can't. It's the recording thing is not going well. Anyway, if you want to stand, you may stand. If you want to sit, you may sit. Believe today, shine tomorrow. You decide what you believe in. Joe.
Suzuki and Mayu versus 7 Up. Ijo.